Hi, I'm Sari Kimbell. I am with Food Business Success, the creator and founder, and I'm going to be talking to Krissy of Grandpa's Steak Butter live on our Food Founders series. And before I bring her on, I wanted to tell you guys that there is a brand new podcast out. Yesterday was the first day, the launch of the Food Business Success podcast. So go over to all your favorite listening platforms and it's on there and you can have a listen. It's short and sweet, 20 some minutes. So I'd love for you to subscribe and leave a review. All right, Krissy, it looks like, I think you're on here. I see you. Oh, welcome. See, and you were nervous. I screwed it up in the beginning. I just did a redo.
I know, I'm shocked I'm in.
Yes, you did it.
Yay.
All
Hi.
right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
It's your first time on doing an Instagram Live.
I know. I'm a little nervous.
Can you hear me okay? My earphones didn't connect, but it should be fine.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I can hear you too.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sure can.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, so I got some samples. Grandpa's
Yay.
steak butter. Now, you're just going to have to back up from the beginning. We got two kinds. Let's see. So I've been working with you. We decided we met like over a year ago, right? Like some type of lunch or something, right?
Yeah, it's been over a year now, which is crazy.
And when we met, actually, you were one of the very first people who joined Food Business Success when I launched the online course. And I don't know, you came out of nowhere. I was like, who is this person?
I think that's how this whole thing came out of. It was just out of nowhere.
So yeah, back the truck way up. Like where? Because you just had an idea, but you had like what is Grandpa's Steak Butter? Where did it come from?
Yeah. So it literally came out of nowhere. I think one morning I was Googling like how to start your own business or how to, well, let me back that way up. So this butter is my great grandpa's recipe. And my mom would make it every single summer and we would just keep it in our freezer all summer and we would put it on our steaks and it was just how we ate steak. That's how we grew up. And ever since I was little, my mom always would make comments here and there like, oh, how fun would it be if we ever like took this to market and tried to sell it? And I wonder if it would ever be successful. And so just those little comments all the time, just growing up. So I don't know why last year, all of a sudden I was like, maybe we should try it. So I think I was just drinking my coffee one morning and I was Googling how you would even start doing this. And somehow with the grace of God, I stumbled upon your page. And I told my sister, I was like, hey, there's this online course we could take and maybe we could see if we could get Grandpa's Butter to market. And I think we took maybe like 1.5 of the courses. And I was like, no, we don't have the time to do this on our own. There was just so much more involved than I had ever thought. So that's when we reached out to you, and you have been a godsend to us and helped us get this to market.
I know. Well, you picked a hard product. It wasn't.
Yeah. Right? We couldn't pick like granola or something that would have been a little bit easier.
Totally. But we did it. And yeah, I mean, to your point, like, I mean, you're busy, you're a full-time real estate agent, your sister has a full-time job, like, you guys are on the go, yeah, you wanted to bring this to life, and then you were like, yeah, let's
call in help.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, it took us, I mean, I guess it took a long time. We had some starts and stops, and some of it was because, I mean, actually that's a fun part of the journey of yours was like, we had a lot of figuring out to do. Like, your mom just used to make it with sauce ingredient. We won't give out the recipe, but like other people's sauces to some extent.
Yeah.
And so we had to go and try to recreate a new recipe that your mom would be mom approved.
Right, exactly. And turning a pinch of this and a dash of that into something that equals something.
Right, because your mom would make it in like a quarter pound, you know, little amount. So it literally was a home recipe. And then we had to figure out like, well, what are we gonna put it? Like, how are we gonna sell it? And I thought this was a great idea that we did the logs. So I guess I could open one of these up, but yeah, they're just like, we ended up getting a sausage machine to make the logs, kind of like a goat cheese log, but butter. You know? Yeah.
But we've received a lot of compliments on the packaging, and so
yeah,
it worked.
It was a work in progress. We had a lot of fun though. I mean, there was times where I've had a couple projects where I'm like, ooh, I don't know if this is going to happen. I never thought that about yours, but it definitely was like, this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of been like part of the fun with it, that, you know, it was just so unexpected that there are these hiccups. And it was things that I thought would be the easiest part of this that I didn't even have on my radar as something that was going to be difficult. None of the reasons of why we were like, no, let's just call Sari to do this for us. Yeah. Where my sister and I were like, that's overwhelming. You know, it was stuff that I just didn't even anticipate was going to be the hard part that became our challenges. And so
yeah, we knocked out the logo and everything real quick, and we're like, that's fun.
Yeah, that was easy. That was the easy part.
That's the fun part. And, you know, I thought about with you, it's like, I said this the other day when we were on call, like, I think you have done a good job of like being really positive and not being on a super strict, like, we got to get this done in 4 months or whatever it was. But just kind of, we've celebrated the wins along the way, you know, like we figured out, you know, we did these little minis, we were going to do it for samples. And then we were like, well, these actually, like, people love these. So there was a lot of like discovery and like, ooh, let's try this.
Yeah, happy little mistakes.
Exactly. So yeah, we ended up adding, we just had the one flavor at the beginning, the original, or just the one flavor.
Just the one, just Grandpa's steak butter.
And then, yeah, tell us what happened. How did we end up
with bold? Yeah, so that was it was literally a home recipe. So some of the ingredients in there, it's like a dash of this and a pinch of that. So when you have to turn that into a large scale to make big quantities, we were trying to weigh out and measure out what a dash weighed or equaled or whatever. So the first batch that we made ended up being a little bit spicier, zippier, bolder than the original, which that was the feedback we were getting. And my mom's like, yeah, it's not supposed to have any spice to it, so that's weird. So it became a happy little mistake. Now we have one that's bold/spicy. You know, we started spicy, now we're changing it over to bold because I don't think spicy is the correct name for it. It definitely has more flavor and a little bit of a zip, but and it's become very popular, actually. We've gotten it onto a menu at a restaurant, and that's the one that they chose to go with.
Oh, nice.
To put it on their steaks as a add-on. And it's just kind of become the favorite, which is ironic. So just a happy little mistake.
For sure. And I think it's also fun to tell the story of, you know, we were taking a home recipe, a quarter pound of butter, and we were scaling it up, and we had to make we made our own sauce because we wanted it to be ours and clean label. So we didn't want any colors or corn syrup or anything in it. So we figured out the sauce, and then we're in the kitchen, and now we're using a huge mixer and 10 pounds of butter. And
and I'm used to seeing like a little quarter of a stick.
And I don't think people realize like it is a real challenge, and you're not going to get it right on the first try, and it would be ridiculous even if you went from like a quarter pound to like 5 pounds, and then you go five
Right.
pounds to 10 pounds. There's still things to figure out. So the first time though, we ended up, I was like, oh, we'll whip the butter. So we used like the whip one, and then it was like frosting.
It was like frosting. It was so weird. Totally changed the flavor. I was like, no, that is not it.
So we realized that to, get the recipe right, we needed to we wanted things to be a little chunkier and like not super mixed up and light and fluffy. That was weird.
Yeah.
So we only had to throw out 1 10-pound.
Only one batch. But I think that's something that you were so great at the beginning, is just setting me up for success of, hey, look, like the way we package it or your label or what it's called may change, 5, 6, 7 times by the time you get to a final product. So I think, you made it very easy for those little hiccups and the things that didn't go exactly the way that you think they should. It's easier to accept them when you know that it's just kind of part of it.
Yeah. And we just kept celebrating the little wins. Like,
yeah, I think we got it. Maybe.
And then no, we have to go back. But then we were able to save the recipe that we was not quite, it was too spicy, but not, And so we figured it out and had a great accident with that. And then, the minis were a fun little thing, just came out of, let's get some samples.
Those were a happy little accident too.
Yeah.
And those have been huge in some of the stores that we've been able to get it in.
Yeah.
Some stores, the logs are their big seller, and others, they're like, the logs do well, but those minis just fly out of here. So it's kind of been fun, the things that weren't meant to be came to be, pretty popular.
Yeah. And it adds, we can talk, let's see where I would start. So let's talk about, the original intent was we were going to go to farmers markets. So we got everything geared up for spring. We found, it took a while, just to get the license, because we had to get the county license because it's butter and hazardous. And so we had to get the right license. 2 licenses. We had to get the kitchen and work all that out. We needed the right equipment. Finally got all that, figured out the batching and all that production pieces. And then as we were doing that, then of course COVID hit, and you're in the middle of being pregnant. You're about to give birth in 2 weeks. So, and your mom's older, and so now we're under COVID, and we had to have a little, come to Jesus. What are we going to do?
Now what? Right. Yeah, our whole plan, was the farmers markets. That's where we were going to go this year, just to get the name out and start, having people hear about Grandpa's steak butter and to be able to taste it, because it's definitely a product that I think people would want to try before purchasing. Just a lot of questions of what is it, or what is steak butter, or, things like that. So, farmers market was going to be the plan of attack. And then COVID had a whole different plan for us.
Your mom was like, I don't think I should be there out, out and about like that. And you're pregnant. So
you can't give out samples there, so it just changed it.
So we shifted pretty quickly. We decided to launch e-commerce, get the Shopify website up sooner than we intended. So that became our focus, and then also getting the wholesale license. And a couple things I think, you did really, really well was really engage your own personal connections as we launched the website, your whole family really. But I've said all along, exploit all of your personal relationships. Ask them to buy, anybody who knows anybody. You guys were really working it. We were looking for beef partners to give out the samples, which is why we needed the little minis to do samples with some marketing information, because we weren't going to be at farmers markets. We got the Shopify website up. And I think it was so brilliant too to have both of these as well as the two flavors, because then we were actually able to increase basket size, right? Like
Right.
get people to buy more. And then if you just have one flavor and one size, it's like, well, how much are people going to buy? But we did,
Exactly.
which shipping was a whole other
Yeah, that was a whole another
you
trial.
guys
I
did not pick
I
up a big
know.
product.
There were a lot of little hiccups with this. I mean, I had boxes, styrofoam boxes, where I was testing how long this butter would stay cold for. And I literally would go put it out on my front porch for a couple hours, like trying to reenact if it were being shipped from a truck and then sitting on someone's front porch at 95 degrees. And
Yeah,
so I'd put
versus
it outside for a
summer.
little, bring it back in, put it back out, bring it back in, and just see how many days we could pull off this butter staying at temperature.
I
It was
know, I
definitely a
know.
task.
Yeah. So we ended up, we had to get boxes with coolers in them. You got a whole bunch from somewhere local that you picked up or
Yep,
the
yep.
trailer.
I, that I mean, some of the places, the shipping costs more than the boxes. So I was like, okay, like that's not going to work. So we finally got it all figured out and got the shipping piece turned on,
Dry
about
ice
a
and
month after we went live on Shopify.
yeah.
So now we can ship all over the United States, which is great. So it's just the little wins,
That's right.
throughout. It's
Yeah, that's
been
true. Because we
exciting.
started local delivery first, and then we're like, okay, we figured
Yeah,
out the shipping part. So we just kept adding
yeah.
little things like, yes. And it just probably
But
felt
I
so
think,
good to be like, somebody's coming in. I don't.
well, yeah, it's just, it's like, okay, well, let's do what we can with what we have. So the local delivery is where we're doing it. I mean, our thought process is there's no reason to sit back and do nothing when we can be doing something.
Right.
So, we started local, just literally taking it to people's houses ourselves. And then while we're figuring out the shipping piece, at least we had that piece. And,
Yeah.
so just slowly building on what you have.
You did, but you did a good like build, and then you had the wholesale license. We did a wholesale sheet, and you got into a restaurant, and then into a store pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, we've got it in 4 or 5 stores now. We just got into a meat market up in Steamboat Springs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, so we just sent it up there. We are on the menu currently at a steak restaurant in Greeley, and we have another one in Windsor interested. So,
Good.
yeah, so
Oh,
it's fun, when you get
yeah.
those yeses along the way, it just keeps you moving.
Right. And like that Sam's Meats, I mean, they've already reordered and like,
They've reordered like 4 or 5 times. They just reordered again the other day. I mean, it is flying out of that store. So, yeah, we have it. Sam's Meats, the Wheat Ridge Poultry and Meats. They're the ones that the minis are doing really well there. They've reordered a few times. We have it inside the Milk Market down in Denver, and I mean,
yeah,
it's been
building a
fun.
little empire. And like, yeah, it's a no brainer. Like $2 for a customer to add this on to their order.
Yeah.
Like now they
Well, and
have,
the cool thing from, now that we've been on e-commerce and, we're getting the feedback. We partnered up with Elevations Beef. They've been phenomenal. So they are handing it out for us at the Cherry Creek Farmers Market with their beef boxes.
yeah,
And they're getting feedback from their customers, but people are trying it on all different things, which
yeah.
has been really fun because then we'll get the message of like, hey, we tried the spicy, we melted it and poured it on our popcorn and it was amazing, or on corn on the cob, or
Right.
I cooked my omelets in it, vegetables, shrimp. I mean, everyone's just coming to us with things that they've tried it on or sending us pictures of, what they're putting it on. And it's been fun. It's
Yeah.
fun watching people explore with it instead of just taking grandpa's steak butter so literally and only being able to put it on steak.
Yeah. And you didn't really think, I mean, that wasn't really part of the plan, but hey.
No, no. And we've put it on hamburgers and it's amazing. on hamburgers. So yeah, it's been fun, and it's fun to get other people involved, and I love that they're all sharing their pictures, and
Yeah,
it's been fun.
for sure. So yeah, we're working on growing the social audience, and of course the email list is a big one, but orders are still coming in, and we're at a point where you and I have talked. It's like we've probably exhausted some of those initial friend and family. Like they
Yep,
ordered lots of
yep.
butter.
But the cool thing now is, like the friends ordered for themselves, but we just had one of our friends, she's out visiting her sister in New Hampshire, and she sent me a text and was like, "Do you ship to New Hampshire? Because I'm out here visiting my sister, and I was just raving about this butter, and now she has to try it." So,
Yeah,
it's slowly getting out there, the word to other states. So, yeah, I'm just so excited to see where it will go.
yeah. How cool was that when we finally had a product though, and with your mom, like we were
Oh,
making it together with your mom and your sister and your husband.
just so special. It's so special. It's fun to bring the whole family in on it. And it's just, like I said, it's something my mom has talked about since I was little. This is what we grew up with. And for her to see it come to light, she's mentioned a few times, like, I just can't believe it. Like, I look at these logs and I can't believe it's real. Like, I can't believe that we're here and it finally happened. So it's, I think, really special for her, and it's fun for me to see how excited she gets.
Yeah, definitely. It's so cool to help make her. That's like the best part for me is just when we
Yeah.
finally get that actual product that's
Yes.
real.
Yes. When it was finally done, I was like, oh,
I
here you
know.
go.
I know. Well, and then yeah, you're about to go have a baby, but then I know you're gonna like hit the stores again and work on the wholesale and meat
Yep. And we
markets. And
have sister and brother-in-law and husband, and everyone's still going to be feet on the ground. And
yeah,
I'll just take a few weeks to figure out how to raise a human really quick. Hopefully, I
she's
don't mess
gonna
this up too bad.
she's gonna grow up on Grandpa's steak butter for like an
Yes, yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, but we're excited to get it in more places and just keep, those little wins and successes, and just continue to get the word out there.
Yeah, well, it's been such a fun project, and you guys have been so much fun to work with, and we've been
You've
in the
been
kitchen
fun.
together, and I don't always get to work with people that closely, that one on one, but been super fun.
Yeah, it was just great. We appreciate you so, I mean, without you, it would not be here. So we appreciate you so much. And
Yeah.
it's just been fun. It's been a fun process, and we're just thankful for you and happy to have you in our lives.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, and I love Brandon, your husband, put that he raced his on his race car
Yeah,
with the logo.
yeah. They just left this morning. The truck left
Oh,
yesterday. They have a race in Indianapolis, so he
oh
gets to
wow.
race part on Indy Speedway. Yeah, which is pretty cool. He's really excited about it. So we'll have Grandpa's Steak Butter logo on his race car and post some more pictures of them out there this weekend.
Like I said, use every avenue to like promote it
Yes,
and push it out there.
anywhere we can advertise this, we're
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah. Well, I think our next thing will be really like how can we find influencers that would be interested in just talking about the butter. That'll be one of our areas, and then growing your email list through some giveaways and just getting
Yeah,
people more excited and involved. We'll have to think of some like holiday recipes. Like what would be good?
yeah.
Um,
And we were just kind of brainstorming, Stacy and I, about holiday things we can start doing. So that would be
yeah,
fun to really figure it out, or Halloween stuff, or whatever. Just kind of hit the holidays and see what we can come up with.
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, you guys have done it right, gotten some help, but we've also, you've gotten the photos, we got the website, you're doing all the right things. You invested in some good marketing materials. So um, I think the sky's the limit. And I know
I
we're working
know.
on some big accounts too, and we'll see how those go. But we
Yeah.
just keep
Yeah.
going,
Stay
little
tuned.
wins, little wins.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And we'll get these bigger accounts and yeah, but we'll take the little ones and it's just, yeah, it's been really, really fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm seeing some fun people, or some people just joined some of my other clients. So you guys will have to go back and watch this so you can uh, hear about Krissy's journey with Grandpa's steak butter. But um, yeah, it was not the easiest product, but maybe those are the most
Nope.
rewarding.
Yeah, we made it work. We made it work. Which, yeah,
I
like I
know,
said, some of the hiccups were not the things that I thought would be the hard part, but
right?
I think it just makes it that much more special, when it's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
So,
I also love that we have such a fun story to play on with your grandfather, or your great grandfather, actually. And we even, I should grab it. We have this book I still have over here, the book with all
yeah,
your, about your
yep,
grandfather. And so that's been really fun to play on with the marketing pieces. That it's a family
yeah,
run
yep,
business, but it's also this like legacy product. And it was
yeah.
fun to read
He's
about
a
your.
real person. Yeah, he was a cattle rancher in California, and this was his special recipe when he would have guests over, and so it's just carried through the family, and we were just
Yeah.
really excited to be able to share it with everybody. And so far, the feedback has been fantastic.
Well, I
But
feel like
yeah,
Would you think Grandpa would approve of this venture?
I think Grandpa would approve. He'd be happy.
He'd
He'd be happy.
be really happy. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thanks for joining me today. It's so fun to see you in person.
I know, it is. This was fun. It was good to chat with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep following Grandpa's steak butter and the journey you
Yeah,
guys go on. And
good
um,
things are going to happen. We'll
I
get bigger.
know I want to get you guys in. Like, we should set a big goal, like to get in those butcher boxes or some of those, like.
Y- Yes, my cousin just mentioned that the other day. She's like, "What if you were to get into these?" And I'm like, "Yes." Sky's the
Yeah.
limit.
I
Yeah,
think that's what.
anyone knows, let me know.
Let me know. Well, I think that's one of your superpowers, and by you, I mean the whole group. Honestly, are just like you guys put your heads together, and you're like, well, how? Let me just send that email, and let me see if I can find somebody, and like, you're not afraid to go after the like crazy, these like crazy
Totally.
big things, but then you're also going after the small things too, and just
Well,
everything
and I
that
think,
happens.
our mentality, all of us, is the answer is always no unless you try.
Mm-hmm.
So why not try? And if
Yep.
it's a no now, let's build some more sales. Let's just kind of keep moving and doing our thing. And, we'll circle back to those no's
Yeah.
and hopefully turn them into yeses, but just to not get discouraged by it because it is easy to do. You get someone who ignores you or, whatever the case may be. And it's kind of like, oh, like, ouch, that hurt a little bit. But, then you get someone to say yes, and it's like, all right, I'll be back to that no, and we'll turn that into a yes eventually. But,
For sure.
just be happy with the little successes and let that motivate. And like I said, the answer is always no unless you try. So we're not scared to go talk to anybody
Yeah.
and see if they would want to sell it.
It's awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations, and
Thank
congratulations
you.
on
And thank you so much.
the baby soon. So I can't
Yeah,
wait to
four
meet her.
weeks.
All
4 weeks.
right. Have a great day, Krissy.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. That interview was a lot of fun to talk with Krissy. This was not an easy product, but one that was very rewarding to get done. And we're still figuring out some tweaks and how to scale up and all of that. It's not exactly easy to find a co-packer for butter, compound butters, but we just keep figuring it out, and that's what starting a packaged food business is all about, right? Like you just keep figuring it out. So I'll leave it at that, but please go check out the podcast. The very first one launched yesterday, so go search for Food Business Success on any of the podcast platforms. And also join us in the private Facebook group, and there you can post questions or get ideas, get feedback from me, and lots of great tools and resources inside that group. All right, until next time, talk to you guys soon. Bye.